Hey BSCs, today I want to talk to you about a topic that is a little bit different than what I would normally talk about, and something that's a bit more personal to me, and maybe give you a little bit more of an inside look into my life and my role as a leader, and particularly the personal side of that. So I think to begin, I want to tee this up by just acknowledging that as leaders in our organizations, we have struggles like everybody else. So often we find ourselves in a spot that we're leading and we're top of the organization, and that can be a lonely place sometimes. You don't feel like you can be transparent or vulnerable to the people around you, and particularly if you're having struggles, real struggles, you feel the need to hide them from other people. And there is some good in hiding them, but there's other parts of that that are not helpful or healthy. And our struggles can be really wide and varied. I mean, we're flawed and broken people, all of us, on some level. And it's possible we're struggling with depression or stress or some physical health issue or anxiety or whatever it is, maybe marital issues or whatever's going on that can really sort of wreak havoc in our emotional state, and make the job of leading pretty difficult. So, and I'm aware that some of these struggles could be small struggles that really don't affect you much day to day in your ability to carry out your job. But some of you all, like me, have either are currently dealing with some things or maybe have in the past that are some significant struggles that make it really difficult for you to lead well and to carry out your job the way that you should. And so I want to just share a little bit about some struggles that I've had in the past and even a few recently, and then talk about how to walk through those or how to think about that as a leader. So about 12 or 13 years ago, I had a significant bout with anxiety. And it was brought on by some spiritual questions and some things that were going on in my life personally that really got the ball rolling, that made the anxiety sort of really ramp up. It's not something I'd really struggled with much before that point. And it just totally incapacitated me. It's like it knocked my legs out from under me, and I felt like for a period of about a year or year and a half, it was all I could do just to function day to day in the job. And if I'm being honest, I really don't feel like I functioned at all. If I was working for somebody else, they probably would have fired me. And every day was just a grind just to get out of bed. I mean, I wanted to just pull the pillow over my head and not wake up that day. The thought of having to do my job, the job wasn't hard, but it was my own mind. The thought that I'm going to deal with myself all day and this pain and this struggle all throughout the day, and I'm going to labor through that, and I would just be exhausted at the end of the day, even though all I had done was sat at my desk. Just the racing thoughts and fears and things running through my mind had just sort of wreaked havoc on me emotionally, and it robbed me of my ability to lead well and to be effective as a leader. And I've had, over the last 10 years or so, some small bouts where this has come back again, and I've had to wrestle with it again. And this happened to me about 2 weeks ago. I had a bout of anxiety that sort of came out of the blue, and I don't really know what brought it on, but it started to manifest itself physically, and I was having some heart palpitations and some other symptoms that I ended up going to the hospital, and I'd never been to the hospital before. Never been a patient or anything, but I started having some physical symptoms that were pretty alarming, and everything checked out okay. And so I feel confident that it was anxiety, but the struggle was real, and for a handful of days, it really knocked me off my feet. And so this stuff is real, and I just wanted to share that to let you all know that we are broken and that you are going to have times where there may be crisis that pops up in your own life. And it may be stress or emotional crisis or depression or whatever, or maybe something else going on personally that can really rob you of doing your job well. So I want to give you a few thoughts for how to proceed forward when you're dealing with this sort of thing in your life. So the first one is just to be honest with yourself. And a lot of us, particularly us men, have this notion in our mind that we're not supposed to let anyone know that we're struggling, that we sort of bottle it up and keep moving forward. And just any of you all that are leaders probably have this tendency because you're used to dealing with stress and problems, and you have this unique ability to plow through and get things done. And sometimes we don't just stop and be okay with the fact that in this particular season, we're dealing with some brokenness in our own lives, in our own self. So I think the first step in being able to navigate well and hopefully find some healing too is to be honest with your struggles, honest with yourself about your struggles. Number two is, I think during these times, and even before, if you're not in a crisis now, at some point in your life, you probably will be, to have good relationships or mentors or people in your life that you can talk to about these sorts of things. So anytime you're dealing with any sort of crisis or emotional issue, stress, anxiety, depression, marriage issues, whatever might be going on, you need other people to talk to. You need guidance from other people. You need encouragement and support from other people. It probably should not be people within your own organization, though there might be a rare person there that you could talk to, but you definitely need those people in your life. Number three is, we can get so focused on the business itself or the things that we have to do that we can neglect taking care of ourselves. So it is important for us, we do sacrifice a lot of ourselves for the sake of other people, but it's important for us to maintain our own health and well-being so that we can serve others at the highest capacity possible. So we shouldn't be neglecting things like our diet or sleep or exercise or just our own mental development or good, healthy relationships and time off and our own souls and cultivating things in our lives that help round us out as individuals, but also keep our tanks full. And because over time we can become depleted in areas, and at some point your body and your mind says, we're done, we've had enough. And that's when a breakdown happens. And so we should be caring for ourselves along the way to hold that sort of thing off. And that should be a priority in our lives. So next, I would suggest that it's okay to reach out for help if you need it. I have done this, and this was hard for me initially because I'm somebody that people come to for help. I lead an organization or multiple organizations, and I'm the guy that ultimately makes decisions on various things. And so it's hard for me to say, hey, I'm kind of broken right now, and I need somebody to help me. To help me figure out how to navigate this. I'm weak right now in this area and I'm desperate for some help. So counseling is something that's really good. I've done that a lot. I've seen doctors and taken medication for various struggles at times, and none of those things are bad in and of themselves, and we shouldn't be too prideful to seek those out if we need it. Okay, number 5 is, I would encourage you to be strong in front of your team. Okay, there's this balance between being honest and transparent with your team, and also maintaining a posture of strength and courage and leadership in front of your team. So nobody wants to go to battle with a general who wears their emotions on their sleeve, and nobody wants to work for or follow a leader that is constantly belly aching or breaking down emotionally about all of their problems. So you want to be careful to not be, the people that you work with and that you're leading are not necessarily the right people to share everything with. But that being said, there is something I think that is beneficial to being transparent to your team that can help engender trust with your team if you're transparent with them. So if you pretend like everything's perfect on the outside, everybody knows that's not true. And so sharing a bit of your struggles, sharing a bit of your weakness or brokenness at times can be helpful in letting your team know you're just a person like the rest of them. And I think that's a good thing. So you must find that balance between leading well and not being a basket case in front of your team, and also being transparent to engender trust with your team. Okay, last, I would encourage you to make sure that your mind and your thoughts are fixed on your vision. And when you're in a valley and it's really hard to see over the hills in front of you, and it feels dark where you're at, or it feels a bit hopeless where you're at, or you're struggling, it's easy to get really self-focused and to focus on how you feel and how things aren't going well personally. And it can be really hard to get out of that spot. And I know from personal experience, and it can be a little bit selfish, and you don't mean to be selfish, but you can be really self-focused in those times. And so having a vision for life, like your own life personally, and what I'm aiming for and what I'm trying to do, and also for the organization, what you're trying to accomplish, that helps keep you grounded and directed in where you want to go. So we all need various anchors in our life that sort of help keep us grounded. And having your own vision for life and where you're going personally and with your family and your own soul, and knowing where that is and keeping your eyes fixed on that. And also with your organization, like why you get out of bed in the morning, what you do, and what's the purpose behind it. It can help lift the focus off of yourself and keep it on that end goal that you have in mind. And this can be a helpful way. It's not going to drag you out of the pit of, depression in a week or something, but it gives you something to hang on to and push towards that can make navigating those times bearable. And when you do get to the other side, you will not have wasted your depression or wasted your crises and not been profitable. You have actually worked through it. You will be stronger coming out on the other side, but you have also continued to plow ahead and bring the company forward, and hopefully yourself or your family personally. So if any of you are struggling, just know that you're always welcome to reach out. I'm a broken person too, and there's stuff in my life that's not all put together, but we're leaders and we've got to do a good job being stewards of that. And so I hope this is helpful in helping you figure some of that out. But if you need me or want to talk, I'm here. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll catch up to you soon.